Assalamu alaikum. So today we're going to be looking at Surah Al-Masad. Now this surah focuses on one particular enemy of Islam. Now why is this the case? Let's take a look a little bit into the background of who this person is. So this person popularly went by the nickname Abu Lahab. Abu in Arabic means father, Lahab means a flame that flickers or sparks. Now in Arabic, using the word father, it's used sometimes to associate a certain characteristic to someone. So father of the flame, meaning you're associating the characteristic of the flame to this person. The reason why is that it's said that he had a bright complexion like the flickering flame or spark, and so he was given that nickname Abu Lahab. Now Abu Lahab came from a big tribe in Mecca, which was the Hashmi tribe, and his wife came from another big tribe, which was the Umayyad tribe. Individually, they were powerful people. So imagine when they came together, they were extra powerful. They together used to try to disturb and bother the Prophet ﷺ. So they would insult him, they would call him names, they would make fun of him, they would throw trash in his way or even on him. And so they were consistently trying to disturb him. Now it's important to mention that Abu Lahab is actually related to the Prophet. He's actually his uncle. So he used to treat his nephew in this way. Now two of Abu Lahab's sons were married to two of the Prophet's daughters. But when the Prophet declared the message of Islam, Abu Lahab made his two sons divorce the two daughters of the Prophet. Another incident that happened is that the Prophet lost his sons early in age. When he lost his son Qasim, Abu Lahab went out shouting and dancing out in the streets, saying, Batara Muhammad, meaning Muhammad's lineage was cut. So he was happy that now Muhammad lost his son, the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ lost his son, and wouldn't have anyone to carry his name after him, so he lost his lineage. Now remember, he's related to him, so he is losing a family member, but he was happy about it. The last incident I'll mention is that when the Prophet made the message of Islam public, what he did was he went up to a mountain and said, Wa Sabaha, and called everyone, Wa Sabaha. And this was the call that what they used to do when they had an important message or announcement to tell the town. So this would gather the people of the town. So the people of the town gathered, and the Prophet told them, if I were to tell you that there were horses waiting to attack right behind this mountain, would you believe me? And so the people responded, well, we've never known you to tell a lie. All we know from you is truth, so we would believe you if that was the case. And so then the Prophet started inviting them to the message of Islam and telling them about it. Now at this moment, Abu Lahab got annoyed, and he got up and said, Tabban laka, alihada jamahtana? He said, curse you, is this what you gathered us for? And then this surah came down in response, cursing him. So let's take a look at the first ayah.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم تبت يدا أبي لهب وتب.
Cursing his hands, may his hands be cursed or destroyed. Now what happened after this ayah came down is that Abu Lahab would go out in public and look at his hands and say, Tabban lakuma, curse you both, may you both be destroyed. And then he would say, oh, I don't see anything, nothing's happening, I don't see anything. So he would mock it, he would make fun of it. Why does this ayah specifically mention his hands? So some interpretations say that his hands specifically are mentioned because he used to disturb the Prophet using his hands, like throwing trash in his way, throwing rocks in his way, so physically using his hands to harm the Prophet. Other interpretations say it's more general, meaning all his actions, because hands in Arabic are used to imply actions, and so this covers all his actions, so may all his actions and everything that he used to do be destroyed. Now we see that tab is mentioned twice in this surah. Tabbat yada Abi Lahabin wa tab, again at the end. So why twice? Some interpretations say that the first tabbat is a dua, so wishing for him to be cursed, and the second tab is a khabar, letting us know that he was indeed cursed. Now at the moment when this surah came down, he wasn't cursed yet, right? But when things are written in past tense in Arabic and they haven't happened, this means that it's guaranteed to happen. It's done, it's guaranteed to happen. So that's why it's in past tense. It's like, for example, when someone asks you to do something and you say done. It's not done yet, you haven't done it yet, but you're so confident that you're going to do it, so you say done, right? It's kind of in the same sense. So when something is guaranteed to be done. Other interpretations say that the first tabbat is cursing his hands, so may his hands be destroyed, while the second one, tab at the end, is more general, meaning may he in his entirety be destroyed. So may his hands be destroyed and all of him as well, may they be destroyed. Okay, so you're probably wondering what was Abu Lahab's fate, what happened to him. He developed some sort of disease that caused him to get all kinds of bumps and sores all over his body. And people were so afraid to be around him for fear of it being contagious, so they left him alone. So he died a slow, painful death with no one around him because they were all scared to be around him. And even to the point that after he died, nobody wanted to touch him. And they left him, and it is said that only after days of him being dead and it starting to smell, they decided we need to do something with his body. And so they got like sticks of wood and basically pushed him and rolled him into a ditch, and that's how they buried him. So even after he died, they just didn't want to be around him for fear of it being contagious. So let's take a look at the next ayah.
ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب.
Ma, the first word in the ayah, ma is used to negate an idea or a belief. And so it is said that Abu Lahab would say that even if hell does exist, I have all this wealth and children, I can just give it out to save myself from the fire. So he had this belief that even if it did exist, he had so much that he could save himself from such a fate. And so this ayah is negating that idea, ما أغنى عنه ماله وما كسب, that his wealth, his money, and everything that he gained, meaning in children and status or anything, none of that will benefit him on that day.
سيصلى نارا ذات لهب.
Okay, so this ayah says he will enter into a fire. And it doesn't just stop there, it explains and describes the fire by saying ذات لهب, so a fire that has lahab. So he liked to be called by the nickname Abu Lahab, associating a flame with him. He will now be placed into that. So it's a very strong scene. The ayah also says at the beginning سيصلى. Sa at the beginning means not just soon but very soon, so immediate future. So it's coming very quickly, very soon, that he will be placed into this fire. Why? Because to Allah this final day is coming very soon, very quickly. Relatively speaking, it is very close.
وامرأته حمالة الحطب.
Okay, so the ayah begins with وَامْرَأَتُهُ, and his wife. Okay, now bear with me as I try to explain this part. وَامْرَأَتُهُ, this sound on the tu, or this haraka that we call it, this dhamma, this sound tells us that this word is a fa'il. What does that mean in English? We have two things, fi'l and fa'il. Fi'l is a verb, fa'il is the person or the thing that actually did the verb. So for example, if we say the boy ran, ran is the verb, right, or the fi'l. But who's the one that actually did the verb? It's the boy. So the boy is the fa'il, the one who actually took the action. So this little sound or this little symbol on وَامْرَأَتُهُ, this tells us that she is a fa'il. But now we need to find her verb. What is the verb? What did she do? And his wife, what did she do? The verb is actually in the previous ayah. The previous ayah that we looked at that said سَيَصْلَى نَارًا ذَاتَ لَهَبٍ, and he will enter into a fire that has lahab. The enter is the verb. He will enter into a fire. So, and his wife means, and his wife will also enter into a fire, into the same fire. So he will enter into a fire that possesses Lahab and his wife will enter into the fire that possessed Lahab. Hopefully that makes sense. So she's associated to the same verb. Okay, the ayah goes on and says حمالة الحطب, the carrier of firewood. The carrier of firewood, some interpretations say that she will actually be carrying firewood that will fuel the fire that they will both be in hell. Other interpretations say it's a figure of speech because she would carry gossip and slander from one house to the other and one woman to the other, and she would basically gossip and slander people. And so it's a figure of speech. And other interpretations say also because she used to carry thorns or wood and throw them in front of the Prophet, that the ayah describes her as that. And it is considered an insulting term because that's the kind of term or phrase or action that the slave women used to do. So they would carry fire for firewood from house to house. So it was considered a really insulting thing to call her. And let's take a look at the next ayah.
في جيدها حبل من مسد.
In her neck. Now the ayah says in and not on. So why? It is said that this rope of twisted fiber is tied so tight around her neck and bound so tight that it pretty much becomes a part of her from how tight it is. There's no way for her to remove it, to get rid of it. It's so boundly tight, it's kind of like part of her, which is why it is said in and not on. Jeed, now, jeed is used to mean not just a neck, but a decorated neck. In this case, it's used as an insult. Your neck is going to be decorated with a rope of palm fiber. Why? It is said that she would go around town and wear all kinds of fancy, expensive jewelry and show it off around town. And specifically, she used to have a really big necklace that she would walk around and say, "Oh, I swear I would be willing to spend this necklace to fulfill my animosity towards Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam." And so she would constantly brag about that, how she'd be willing to spend this and give it away and stuff in order to fulfill her animosity towards him if she needed to. And so now Allah came and punished her with something else around her neck and insulted her by saying that her neck will be decorated by a twisted fiber instead as part of her punishment. So that basically brings us to the last ayah. Inshallah, I hope that it was of benefit and that it made sense. Some parts were a little bit difficult to describe, but inshallah you found benefit. Thank you so much. Assalamu alaikum.